What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another Pay-Per-Viewpoint edition of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. NXT WarGames 2021 just ended about 3 minutes ago. We're going to break down the card, tell you what happened, who won all the matches, what we thought about all the matches, and everything else that happened in between. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, is Robert DeFelice.
Tony, another year has gone by. As I believe it's John and Yoko would say, war is over. If you want it. War is over now.
And I believe it was in Rush Hour where they said, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Good movies. That's where we are. Two good movies and one not. Maybe a future fan tracks, I don't know. Yeah, War Games. It
happened.
It happened. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't great. We've had some great War Games matches in the past. We've had some great War Games pay-per-views in the past. And this is the first non-takeover event. And it kind of felt like it a little bit to me. What about you?
Very flat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very like, this happened. And I don't think that much will be remembered. Like, the War Games match, they did their best. This was they've hit the point of Hell in a Cell.
Already.
One fell swoop, they've hit the point of Hell in a Cell. Where they did it's a War Games, and here's a bunch of spots for the sake of spots. But the story felt flat. It just felt flat. That's my take. It felt flat.
You all know that I love my food analogies because everybody eats, so it's the best way to do it. But here's how I kind of feel about it. If you want pizza and you get like Elio's pizza, yeah, it's got the crust and it's got the cheese and it's got the sauce. It's pizza, but it doesn't hit the same. These were War Games matches, and this was a War Games pay-per-view. And by all accounts, I mean, each match was at least decent. But it doesn't feel the same to me. And I don't know if it's a matter of that they purposely are going in a slightly different direction with this whole 2.0 thing, or if it's a subconscious thing. And maybe there's a whole lot of people out there that really, really enjoyed this a lot more than I did. But then I'm sure that there's a lot of people that hated it. And I didn't hate it. I thought that every match was at least decent. And I just don't have a single match of the year candidate like I would have hoped.
There was, for me, speaking of the overall show, there were a lot of like interspliced vignettes.
Oh, I hated that.
That made this really feel like this must be like what it would have been if OVW would have gotten on pay-per-view in like the mid-2000s, or if like Florida Championship Wrestling had a random pay-per-view in 2011. Like, congratulations. This feels definitively like developmental, which is why we want all of our old NXT faves out of there in any capacity, because this doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, it really, I mean, we're not going to break down each of the vignettes because a lot of them were literally reruns. Like the Draco Anthony one was a rerun, the Grizzled Young Veterans one. Oh, the Boa one was a rerun? I didn't catch that was the same.
So the Boa one was a rerun, but it allowed me to understand that he now possesses the powers of Mei Young.
Mei Ying is no longer Mei Ying. Of course, she's Wendy Chu, and her gimmick is that she's sleepy. And they decided that they would actually give somewhat of an explanation behind her disappearance, which is more than what we normally get. But yeah, it's all in Boa now. Boa's got all the power. He's Mega Man after stealing all the powers from, Gutsman and
the Leaf one.
Yeah, all them. So we're not going to talk about each one of those. We might touch on them here and there. But as we go through this, we want to remind you that we want to know what you have to say about this. So drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts. Or if you are in the live chat right now, chat it up and tell us what you thought. I see we got Peter in the chat. I see we got a super chat from Marquise. Thank you, super chat. Wow. Thank you, Marquise. Thank you, Super Chat, for that Marquise there.
I see Marquise has given us money. Thank you, money.
Thank you, buddy, for leaving a Marquise in the chat. He says Vince's pettiness knows no bounds. We also have Brandon in the chat who says women's match was disappointing and I'm sad. Peter, you're saying that and you said that the tag team match won't be good. We're gonna jump into things sequentially, but
yeah, you know what? You always don't doubt those tag team boys. Kyle O'Reilly is a great wrestler, and we'll get to it.
Peter says, "Thank you, Super Chat." Chant, "Thank you, Super Chat." And then maybe that's another variation of the Super Dragon kind of thing. So we started off with the kickoff, and one of my few notes that I have down for that. So I was, we haven't fully finished it, but I'm watching the second season of Tiger King, and they showed a quick clip of Sam Roberts talking about the Tiger King situation, and I was like, "Oh, Sam Roberts, he's in WWE all the time." So when he pops up, I'm like, "Yeah, Sam Roberts. Oh, look at that." And then I'm thinking, Matt Camp got his head shaved. Did he lose a hair versus hair match, or did I miss something?
He might have. I liked him better with the hair, but Sam Roberts looks better with his head shaved.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, one way or another. I love the whole thing where who was it? It might have been somebody that specifically had tweeted it to Renee about that. He and Moxley had the same thing going on for a little bit. The beard with the bald head and whatever, and she was just like, "Oh God, don't do this to me."
They did kind of. Why did you bring that up?
It still didn't feel like War Games to me without the William Regal shout. So that was another thing. I like. By the time we started this, I was like, "Yeah, this doesn't feel like War Games."
So I thought for sure that at some point Regal would just pop up to go War Games, and I was very surprised that Triple H didn't show.
Triple H didn't. Regal didn't.
Michaels, nobody. Like, this didn't feel... I'll say this. I hope that they just stick to TV specials. And I hate the TV specials. But I'd be all right with this brand just sticking to TV specials.
At this point, I kind of would be okay with that too. Unless they're going to do something where they go out and they do it in front of a different crowd, I don't think you need any of the pay-per-views anymore for it. Just do it on TV and make people interested in that. It works for AEW. It's worked for like Halloween Havoc, and we're going to get NXT New Year's Evil again on January 4th. Stick to that. If you want to do a War Games match, do a War Games match when you need to. Same as what we've been talking about with Hell in a Cell and everything that goes along with those, kind of like, it's that time of the year, so let's do the whatever match. Wait until you need to do it and do it on TV. Pop a rating. Why not? Because this felt like a TV show more than a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so, okay, so the only other note I have from the pre-show is, hi Denise, that was cool. Denise got to be on. And that's like a super cool moment for her, and I'm glad that she got that.
Always cool to see somebody that you work with and know get some kind of a thing like that. I haven't worked with her, but she seems cool, so.
Yeah, and she just seems like perfect for the bump or one of those shows. So I just hope that eventually she does find her way there, or just somewhere that utilizes her properly, because she enjoys the hosting side of things. So I hope she gets there. But now I need to talk about my overarching issue with this entire show. The neon really fucking hurt this show. It just, I couldn't get into the War Games with I'm like, this looks like it's taking place at a Chuck E. Cheese. Turn the lights down.
Well, see, now I want to see some kind of a War Games match out of Chuck E. Cheese. I want to see two warring factors of these little kids, Just get Billy's birthday party against Timmy's birthday party and just have them go at it.
In the fucking ball pit,
Right. You got the ball pit, you got the that maze thing, or I assume that they still have that. I don't know. I haven't been in one of those places in 20 something years. But make it to where the winning team gets the pizza. That apparently is leftover pizza.
I'd be all right with losing that match. Oh no, I lost the pizza.
Did you ever hear that whole thing about the leftover pizza with that?
No.
That's like a rumor or whatever going around that Chuck E. Cheese uses the leftover pieces of pizza and forms them into another pizza.
Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's so bad.
I don't think at all that that's true, but people have made like, I think they did like a food theory about it and everything, about just trying to see if maybe that's the case and stuff. So
That's
I don't know.
so gross.
Maybe the losing teams on this pay-per-view needed to eat some of those slices and just risk it. You know?
Maybe that's what the losers here get. Cause
Yeah.
Really, there were no stakes, right? There wasn't anything actually assigned
No, it's pizza. That's steak.
to these WarGames. I hate you. We're going to talk about steak. Steak played a role in one of these vignettes. But we get to the women's match, and almost immediately I hate the structure of it, because if the rule is Io's team, or Raquel's team rather, has the advantage, and you know Dakota's in the ring, right? Dakota is in the ring, and you have the advantage on her. Why wouldn't Raquel burst through the other two and just be like, no, I'm going in there because I'm going to beat the shit out of Dakota Kai for like 5 minutes? Why wouldn't that immediately come to mind? Instead, you send Cora Jade out there, who ends up being the star of the match.
She does.
And I wasn't necessarily feeling that. You know, like, I think you should have led with Raquel and then had Cora. Like, you could have even done the whole, no, you're going to go in last because you're, young and tiny, and we need to send our big guns out. And then Cora gets the win, because spoiler, she got the win. But I just think the structure of it was a mess. And you know what else is dumb? This thing that, like, everyone's, hold on, I'm bringing a weapon too. I was watching with somebody, and they're like, but why is all that shit under there? And I'm like, it's getting harder and harder to explain.
Some of the stuff, of course, it makes sense. Maybe they do have some extra chairs. Maybe they do have a table ringside.
That is the exact analogy I used. I said, the chairs make sense. Maybe a ladder, you gotta fix something.
The crowbar. I'll take the crowbar. That makes sense. Maybe you have that to be able to help set up the ring turnbuckles or something. But when you have...
Why are there 5 kendo sticks?
The kendo sticks are the worst. I hate the kendo sticks. We talked about this before, but like, I know they do it because they don't do the chair shots anymore and this is safer, but it's just stupid. It's why are there bamboo Singapore canes under the wrestling ring? You don't use them for anything. Make them, like, paint them black and make them seem like they're supposed to be some kind of sort of a support beam or something if you need to. Just the kendo sticks.
Just something other than a kendo stick.
All right. But they got 2 baseball bats at the beginning of this, then kendo sticks come into play. Cora Jade comes in.
Green.
The green baseball bat, yeah.
They look like when you're like in 4th grade and you're in gym class. Like, why is this shit so colorful? You're in war. You're beating the shit out of each other anyway. Turn the lights down, turn the color off, and let's just go. It's
all because of that note that they had been given where it was too dark. And instead of just realizing that they could bump up the lights a little bit and that would solve the problem, they thought we have to make everything bright and colorful.
It's a rainbow show.
Right. Now you just vomit colors all over the place. And you got Kaylee Ray coming out. She's wearing green. She's got her stark red hair. She looks like somebody said their inspiration for her outfit was watermelons. And then she's fighting, the Cora Jade comes in, like you said. She starts getting a little bit of the spotlight. Gigi Dolin popping up next. And I found out something today that I thought was interesting. Caroline was watching my big fat gypsy wedding. Yeah, okay, that's what it is. I keep wanting to say my big ass wedding or something like.
Wanting to say my big fat Greek wedding.
My big fat Greek wedding. She watches a show called it's like the 1,000-Pound Sisters, and I think it's called My 600-Pound Life, and I just keep calling it My 10,000-Pound Ass because I can't remember the name of these shows.
So do you spend a lot of time watching TLC reality shows now?
That's Caroline's thing, but I overhear a lot of things, and I overheard a wrestler, Priscilla, on this Greek wedding, or Greek. I keep wanting to call it Greek. I didn't even see My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I keep wanting to call it that. But my big ass Gypsy birthday party bash, whatever. And Gigi Dolin's on it. And I'm like, what the hell? So you learn something new every day. And the crowd was begging for her to come in. They're chanting, "We want Gigi." So when she comes in, of course, she brings in a trash can and a bag. Did we ever get to see the contents of that bag?
I
don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I know she threw it across the ring at one point. I think it was supposed to have like tools in it. And I think that they just didn't use it. If we got that, let me know if it just completely like I missed something, or maybe they just had it like halfway out of the shot or something. But I don't think that they ended up opening it up and showing what was in the inside of it. That's kind of strange. Io Shirai popped up next. She brought in chairs and a trash can and such. By this point, the crowd, of course, is chanting that they want some tables. Jacy Jayne gets in. And we get a thing with Cora Jade where she does a swanton bomb through the table onto Jacy Jayne, and she starts clutching her arm. And I'm thinking, oh, this is how they're going to write her out. They're going to end up saying she's injured, she can't compete anymore, and then the heels get the advantage, and that's how they do the whole switch. I'm thinking, it's not that bad. She gets to look kind of badass on her way out. And instead, Io Shirai pops the shoulder back in. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of sense.
It was cool because it was like, what is she doing? What is she doing? And then she's just kind of like, sorry, bang. And, shows that Io Shirai is kind of a badass and everything. And, Cora Jade spends the rest of the match holding her arm and still being in pain and everything. But she sticks through it. And lo and behold, throughout a couple of moves here and there, we get a double power bomb, a moonsault, so on and so forth. We end up getting Cora Jade getting the win. She pins Jayne.
Well, I don't know how I feel about this yet, because she just sort of crawled into it. Like, she didn't get the win with the swanton or something. She just sort of crawled into it. But I'm glad she got the win.
I mean, I would have thought that this would have been Kaylee Ray or Io Shirai, so that they could have fought Mandy Rose. But it's kind of cool to see that they're actually pushing somebody new. And I read this on the Bleacher Report Biggest Takeaways. So many people over the past year had gotten hired, and then within 5 of their matches, they were fired. Cora Jade seems to be sticking around a little bit, and for them to give her a spotlight like this, maybe they really do see something in her. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested, and I'm going to pivot here a little bit because I just got hit with the Johnny Gargano did a post-match speech, and he will be on NXT on Tuesday. That's all I'll say. But I'm glad with the way the show started. I'm gonna say something mean here. I don't think I need to see the girls in a cage match. I don't. Like, if it makes sense and it means something, yes. This felt like the girls are in the cage because we have established a point of inclusivity.
Yeah.
But these girls don't belong in a cage.
To be fair, the feuds lined up in some ways enough that I can see them just being like, well, it's good enough. But we didn't need either of these. And if we only needed one of them, it wasn't this one.
Yeah.
There was a point in the match where they had kind of teased that Kaylee Ray was going to hit Cora.
Yeah.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, a lot of people were feeling like that was going to be a turn. And I didn't, just because I knew that wasn't the story of the match. But Kaylee Ray does work better heel.
Yeah. And I just don't have a whole lot of faith that they don't just switch people back and forth all the way like that they've been doing lately. But I'm assuming that the regulars on the heel and face turn list were probably getting that fired up already, just going, and then, Sorry, guys. Didn't work out this time. But Cora Jade ends up looking pretty good at the end of this. In the chat here, we got some other comments. Peter says, well, Cora's boyfriend was fired. It's the least they could do. Yeah. Guess Five's asking, who's leaving leftover pizza? Well, if it's Papa John's, I don't want it. And
Pizza's not bad, but Papa John's sucks.
Marquis says, don't get your hopes up. She could be gone tomorrow. That's true. That's what's sad about this situation, is it very easily could just be like, she just got the pin. Why are you letting her go? Because it's happened with like 20 different people so far. Of, what do you mean? They're just your number one contender or something, you know? And then that took us into some of the vignettes. We got the rerun of this Tiffany Stratton one where she's just like, Daddy said I could do anything I want. I'm going to be an NXT star. And
I can do without this gimmick.
Without the daddy stuff.
Yeah.
I think
it's like, okay, you guys just want characters, and I'm down for that. But it's also like, I don't want, Duke the Dumpster Drosy. And it's starting to feel a little like Duke the Dumpster Drosy era.
I mean, if we can get somebody like a Tiffany Stratton cutting a promo about how much she loves being a trash man.
It'd be a bit of a weird swerve, but yeah.
I don't hate it yet. Not quite. But I don't like the whole daddy part. If it's just like, I'm a rich bitch, I like that a little bit better. The whole daddy thing kind of makes me seem like somebody's working through some issues, you know?
Yeah.
And we got something with Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen just talking about how they like beating people up and drinking beer and barbecuing, and they're manly men from the South, and
they were, speaking of daddy issues, they were like, well, my dad didn't care about me getting cooked on the football team because I was a man's man and keeping the family honor.
Yeah, maybe they should team up with Tiffany, and they could get adopted by her dad, who's very supportive and says that she could do anything. That was the Boa thing. They recapped the MSK thing, and then they said the Shaman is going to pop up on Tuesday. That took us into the Tag Team Championship match. Some of my notes here, mostly stuff that I had said before. Imperium's great. You gotta love Imperium. Marcel Bartel's one of the most underrated heels, I think, in WWE right now. And Eichner, I'm always glad when I can see people give him some sort of recognition, because he's great. I don't think it was the technical masterpiece that Wade Barrett and Beth Phoenix said that it was, but I enjoyed it. It was fine.
Yeah. I love this match. This match was a lot of fun.
Peter's favorite match of the night.
Eichner had a great showing. Fucking Kyle O'Reilly's so good. And that was the match. It was Eichner versus O'Reilly, and there were two other people there for some reason. And it was a good match.
Well, the more important thing was after the match.
Yep. So
Imperium retains, and Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner in the ring. Fans are chanting, "Thank you, Kyle." Feels very adios. We'll see you later, O'Reilly.
I will say, Wagner needs to work on that. Like, bro, he's milking the crowd. Don't stand there with your grimacing face ready to hit him. If you're going to stand there like that, just hit him from behind. Well,
he tries to do it.
Because he wasn't going to hit him.
Right. He tries to do that. He goes after Kyle O'Reilly to turn heel for some reason.
Well, no, I understood this. It's because O'Reilly lost. And he'd just be mad at that.
Even still, it's kind of like, you've been spending weeks backing this guy up no matter what. And with one loss, you're just immediately turning heel. It's a little, But thankfully, they do spin it a little bit where Kyle O'Reilly saw coming from a mile away, and he's able to take Wagner out. And later on in the night, he says...
That's not the story here. The story here is he takes Wagner out, flashes the Undisputed Era symbol, and says, "This is a brotherhood."
So you took it as like that being the biggest focal point of the whole thing? I took it as him.
It was my biggest focal point of the whole thing.
I took it as them just being like, oh, he's learned from the Adam Cole attack.
Yeah, but also you could take it as him saying, fuck you, you're not them. Like, this is brotherhood. I never trusted you to begin with.
Well, he does later on say he's been around here. He's seen that movie before, that kind of deal. And since he didn't get involved in the WarGames match, which he should have been a part of, and we've talked about that before, he wants to challenge him to some sort of a steel cage match on Tuesday night. And I think there's two ways of taking this.
It could be a scrap metal match.
Yeah,
Huh?
maybe. It could be, number one, Kyle O'Reilly's going to stick around, and this is going to be the feud that he's going to go with.
Nope.
Or what's more likely the scenario, Kyle O'Reilly's doing the job on Tuesday night, and we're not seeing him anymore.
So they have, now I'll talk about the Gargano thing again. They have already announced Gargano for Tuesday, and they've already announced O'Reilly for Tuesday, which says to me that both men are leaving on Tuesday.
I think so. I think Wagner's going to beat him on Tuesday, and that's the last we're going to see of Kyle O'Reilly. Well, in NXT.
Yeah, we'll see him again in 2 weeks. Winter is coming.
Maybe so, yeah.
There's no reason not to. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason not to just go, fuck it, we got him.
If Kyle leaves and you're Tony Khan, you got to reach out and go, dude, come on. Come on.
You have to pick up the Undisputed Era. You have to pick up Johnny, just because it's like, it's like picking up Brett, although you should do more with them than WCW did with Brett. Like, these guys are the guys that stood for NXT. You got to pick them up.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that he sticks around and that this is their method of like, okay, you signed a new contract, so we're going to give you a story. But I think that chance is maybe like 20%. It's more than I thought that there was. I just assumed that he was going to be gone no matter what. Now I'm kind of like, I don't know. But I'm still thinking he's just gone.
I can't imagine why he wouldn't just leave. Like, what is there that he should stay for?
Maybe they continue to give out the handshakes and hot dogs, and they have really good hot dogs.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think AEW can produce some good hot dogs.
Well, we know that the pizza's not good.
That is true.
Come back in time and talk about that. We got two different things from Ike Manjiro. One of them was, I'm almost positive, a segment that we had seen months ago where he was showing off his jacket collection. But another...
Say, he called it the Ike Mansion. Like
the Ike Mansion.
And I'm just like, yeah, I like that. That's great.
The second one, though, he's like, oh, I'm so hungry. And he eats, what was it? It was a super Slurpee, 3 gallons of ice cream, 2 giant slices of pizza, and 2-foot-long hot dogs. And then he takes a massive shit. This is what they want to do. Like, this is their idea of what they want this new NXT to be.
No, but you don't understand. It's funny because he's shit.
Why are we getting Ike Manjiro is shitting and the grizzled young veterans are concerned with stealing chicken wings? Who's writing this shit?
Well, it's such good shit.
According to what Jiro was looking like. Seemed like that was a real bad shit.
Yeah. Look, I understand what you're saying, but you know who's writing it. Like, come on.
Peter says, you know about good hot dogs from MetLife, Tony? Should I go on my rant about how the MetLife hot dogs weren't all that good?
Get the MetLife, and we gotta eat some fucking hot dogs.
I need a good foil hot dog. I haven't had one in a long time, and MetLife didn't give me one. Jerks.
I haven't had a good hot dog in a while either. It's gonna turn the hot dog discussion.
Well, hot dog. We got another thing with reminder that Zion Quinn on Tuesday night is going to fight Santos Escobar. Love saying this name. And we got the hair versus hair match, which I have nothing to say about except for what happened after So it's like the match itself, there's nothing for me to talk about. Is there anything for you? Yeah.
Paint by numbers.
Grimes wins with a handful of tights, and Hudson tries to take Grimes out after the match to shave his head anyway, which would have defeated the whole entire purpose, but they've done that before. But Grimes gets the better of the whole situation. He regains the clippers, and he cuts off the center of Hudson's hair, so he gets a skullet out of that. And I'm wondering, why?
You know why, Tony? Because like they had Oni Lorcan, right? And they must have thought, he's got a really cool look. Let's just give it to somebody taller. Hey, Duke, come here. I'll shave your head.
I'm curious because it's like he doesn't seem like he's going balding, so that they would have to get ahead of it like Baron Corbin. He's a good-looking enough guy that why would they want to change that for the sake of it? His gimmick has nothing to do with being a good-looking guy, so it's not like, oh, I'm so hideous now. And being a poker player has nothing to do with hair. So they booked Duke Hudson to shave his head, and was he just like, I want to shave my head, how about you do that? And they were like, cool, we don't fucking care, do it. It's going to be curious to see if anything comes out of this.
Right. I think they tried to make it seem like it was a good looks thing, because they were like, oh, the best looking man on NXT isn't best looking man anymore. My takeaway was Wade Barrett going, Lady Luck is a bitch. I just thought that was so funny. Like, he's just so bothered with the fact that this man got his haircut.
I thought it was funny that Vic Joseph, the way he was describing that Grimes got the roll up, he was like, he caught him on the river.
It's very weird to me that this feud was even a thing. A lot of this show, I'm not going to say it's December to Dismember, because it's not. It's had a lot more build, had some semblance of sense was made, right? But a lot of this show does feel like it wasn't needed. Like it was a show that needed matches rather than matches that needed a show. And this was the peak of like, hey, what do we do? I don't know. You want to shave your head so that we can do something at the pay-per-view? Okay, cool. Because like Grimes, and I'll say this later about LA Knight, feel like they were the new breed, right? But
kind of, yeah.
Because they're so associated with black and gold, they get sort of somehow lumped in to, they're NXT old. Sam Roberts, by the way, referred to Pete Dunne as an old dog. He lumped him in with the other ones, but still, you're referring to Pete Dunne as like this old dog that sees young stars in the rest. Pete Dunne is younger than me.
Pete Dunne is 28.
Oh, he's okay. He's my age. I ain't no old dog. Okay, Sam Roberts. Okay, we're gonna have some problems here, Sam. But like, what is that? Just because they happen to be a part of the other wave, before you just randomly woke up one day and said, "I know, color." Like that makes them outdated and old.
Well, don't you know that Pete Dunne's one of those like weird people who doesn't age? And he's been 28 for 46 years.
I mean, I'm cool with that. He strikes me as a vampire. I can see that happen.
Let's see what we got going on here. Then we got some recaps, some different things. We also got the vignette with Casey Catanzaro and Marquise's new crush, Caden Carter, talking about they love music festivals and they're the life of the party.
Hold on, this was the worst.
Yeah.
Reading I have ever heard in my life. We are just the life of the party and we just feel the vibe. So much good energy from listening to music.
We're going to bring that to NXT. See you later.
And it's like, okay, cool. They were at EDC. That's a legit festival. Took place in Orlando. That's fantastic. That is a great way to integrate your superstars into the real world. Why did this sound so fucking plastic?
It sounds like what you would hear somebody like Stephanie McMahon say on one of those press conferences.
Yep.
Where they would be like, WWE is tapped into the cultural zeitgeist. We just did some kind of a crossover with the EDC. We're on the Facebooks and we're on the Twitters, that kind of deal.
That's terrible.
Marquise asks, Rob is right. How many party gimmicks have worked out in WWE? Oh, well, tell that to WWE WrestleMania main eventer Adam Rose.
No. Hold on. We do have WrestleMania main eventer that beat Goldberg. Adam Rose's giant baby, Braun Strowman.
It's true. We got was it Scarlett that was the big burger or something? Or was she just like, one of the random hot chicks or something?
It could have been Scarlett.
Bunch of them over the years. Like, I think Deanna had been.
Deanna was one, yeah.
Was No Way Jose? He might have been.
Well, no, like he just sort of took over the gimmick. And it went from whoa to no way, Jose, no way.
Which was
Jose.
Catchier. Yeah, I don't see.
So it doesn't matter.
I don't see this slight adjustment to what used to be called Team Ninja, and they had another name too.
They're going to be the life of the party, though.
But they got to be the life of the party. They can't just say that they're the life of the party. I haven't seen much of them actually being like the super fun, awesome, crazy chicks that would be like the life of the party. They what are they going to do? Just give them glow sticks and call that a day?
Yep.
Probably.
Why ask the question when you know the answer?
Oh, what's 2 + 2?
Fish.
Damn right. Cruiserweight Championship match happened up next. Spitfire Warriors. Peter brought it up. That was another one of the names. That was the one I was like the kayfabe something or whatever. I couldn't think of the name of it. Cruiserweight title match. I wasn't feeling it as much. This was
a plate to steal a Jim Cornette. This is flatter than a plate full of piss. Like this was
flatter than a plate full of piss.
I turned around and I go, oh good, Ronnie's going for End of Heartache. Oh good, it's over. I was like, okay, cool. Joe Gacy's not winning this belt. Because I thought, well, Joe Gacy can just win. And then, Roderick will just die like the rest of the Triple H's NXT people. But no, they kept it on Roddy. I'm proud to see that.
I didn't like much of anything of this. Like, I don't want to say that I hated it. And I had said at the beginning of this, everything was kind of at least decent. This is at least decent. It's probably the best thing that Joe Gacy's done so far. But that's not saying too much. I'm not a huge fan of him. I didn't like Harlan ringside. I thought that he took away more from it than he actually helped. And I don't understand, like, why was he picking up Ivy Nile? Is it supposed to be some, like, King Kong kind of deal where it's like this hulking dude doesn't even know what to do? He just, like, picks up the girl and Gacy's got to be like, no, put her down. Don't do anything to her. Do anything to the Creed brothers and the Hachiman and whatever.
Didn't I tell you that this is... Never mind.
That he's just Lars Sullivan and Eric Rowan put together? It's true. Yeah. He seems like it.
I mean, I was going to go there with Lars, but then again, doesn't it seem like he's just... like
it is.
Being weird for the sake of being weird? And it's... Why are we doing this? What is this? The whole time, this is the first time, admittedly, I've watched the full NXT show since the last takeover with Joe and Adam Cole, maybe. And it just felt like I don't know who anybody is. So much of this doesn't seem like it's actually impactful. And this was the peak of that. Like, there are so many surrounding players here. So many, and I'm like, what are they? Like, who are all of them? What are they doing? Will Harlan mean anything in 6 months? Will Ivy Nile mean anything in 6 months? So the Creed brothers have a shot because they're a tag team.
Obviously, I have no ill will, and I don't want to wish this on anybody, but here's my prediction. Diamond Mine doesn't last until May.
I will say that, but I don't think there'll be any negative connotations there. I just think they'll all go their separate ways. I think the Creed brothers will stay on top and get drafted somewhere. I think Ivy will stay. I worry about Malcolm because they're not good to managers.
I think Malcolm ends up getting the boot. I think Hachiman is either given the boot or he's just off television and he's just going to be a trainer. I think Strong either leaves or Strong is split from the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. And maybe they keep Nile and maybe they keep the Creed brothers.
That's what I said. I think Nile and the Creed brothers definitely stay. I don't see them leaving at all.
Wouldn't shock me if they, like, at this point, it wouldn't shock me if anything happens, really. But I don't think that Diamond Mine is long for this world. And I think that they're going to come to that realization around maybe February. Maybe even sooner. I don't know. I'm surprised that Gacy didn't win. I figured that this would be the step that they would take towards killing the Cruiserweight division. Because they've taken a lot of steps into it. I figured this was going to be the death knell. And instead, Cruiserweight Championship stays where it is. And oddly, despite the fact that I'm happy about that, it couldn't have felt flatter. Because it's just like, all right, Strong retains, now what? What was the point of that?
Just telling you that Strong retains. And he's, surprise, Strong. You know, I think it was just to get him a win and get him on the show.
Maybe so. I don't know. It wouldn't shock me as well, knowing how WWE does these sometimes where they just do rematches and everything. I wouldn't be shocked if Gacy just won that title on Tuesday.
Don't put that in the universe, Tony. Don't manifest.
It's already out there.
Hasn't your wife taught you enough of these things about manifesting and things like that? Don't put that in the universe, man. Come on.
Somehow I managed to get a wonderful wife and have a rainbow pop up during the wedding. I don't think I have that much extra juice in manifesting things. I think I used it all up with that.
That's pretty selfish that you wouldn't like use it towards world peace. Tony.
Everybody else can use up their points that way.
Good job, Tony. You selfish asshole.
Look, I already do my effort towards world peace by doing the podcast and telling everybody how the way things should go.
Mango says America.
I fixed Peacock. Did you notice that? NXT UK. It starts on 301. Huh? I'm just saying, everybody. I'm just saying. Who's the one who's been bitching and complaining for months? Only me. Who's the one that they said we're making some adjustments based off of you? It was me. So, yeah, vote for me for president. That was it. All the way up to the final match.
The WarGames, yeah.
Before we get that, though, I'll ask, or I'll answer a question that's in the chat here. Marquise had said after he's talking about how Kaden Carter can get it.
Oh my God.
She can get all the business, as he said.
Okay.
He says, can I ask this question? WWE files a lot of trademarks that go absolutely nowhere, such as Diamond Mine, especially these never amount to shit. Why? To cover their asses. It's literally, it's not too much money to file it for a trademark. So if they get the trademark and nothing happens, they're out a couple $100. But
it's mostly because they have the idea and they need to make sure it's trademarked.
And then if the idea can go somewhere, then they'll go from that. But if they end up realizing afterward that it's not like something that they can get for the trademark, then they're going to abandon it anyway. Or they're going to do the type of thing where it's like the core, where they're like, oh, we'll add an extra R in there so that way we can trademark that. Nobody liked that, you know?
Like scrap metal, for example. There's like
2 Ps.
5 different variations of it.
Yeah, there's
They
like...
had to make sure they could get all of them.
There's like CRAPP and then
METEL.
EL.
And then it was CRAPP METTAL. And there's like so many different spellings.
So that's a couple $100 a pop. And it doesn't seem like they're doing anything with it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, I don't know. But we still haven't figured out who Nikita is. So, yeah, maybe. But that led to the finale of the night, the men's WarGames match. We started off with Carmelo Hayes and Johnny Gargano. All throughout the night, whenever it was referenced, it was like, hey, Johnny, this is your last night, essentially.
Yeah, they really hammed it up in that backstage segment where they were like, hey, this is about us, but really, this is about you, Johnny. He did come out to Rebel Heart, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool that he got that moment. He had a really cool gear. Let's talk about his gear for a second. All of the different Marvel things he's done through the years on one attire. I love it.
Gargano is so indicative of what I want in a performer. He cares about everything. He's funny. He works as a babyface. He works as a heel. He has some of the best matches. Gargano may be my overall favorite person that's been in WWE in the past 5 years. So I'm like, I don't want him to leave, you know. But he's going.
That I'm like, I'm not as eager for Johnny to leave as I am for other things, right? Like, I'm eager for Raquel to go and go during the Undisputed Era at AEW. I'm eager for, like, where's Keith Lee gonna go? Because he's better outside the walls. Johnny, I kind of feel like could be better inside the walls of WWE if he can stick with Shawn. You know what I mean?
Like if Shawn can keep being in the ear of Vince McMahon and going, no, this is Johnny Gargano, you know? He's Mr. NXT in my mind, more so than anybody else, even more so than Adam Cole.
Yeah, I have to say it would be Gargano. And I think if you lose him, you're losing a lot because there's so much there. You know, Johnny Gargano always said I'm NXT for life, and he lived it. And if he leaves, it says, well, something went really wrong with your NXT, didn't it?
Did we do Mount Rushmore of NXT?
We did a top rope list. I think we did like a top 10. We put FTR at number 1. We never did a Mount Rushmore of NXT, though.
I'm going to double check, because I kind of feel like we might have done that, but...
We might have merged it within what we did.
Yeah, because I don't have that on the wiki, at the very least. So, either we did it, like, in some kind of roundabout way, or we didn't do it at all, but maybe that's going to be next week for the main event. I don't know. We did kind of want to do a Mount Rushmore, so maybe we do Mount Rushmore of NXT. What do you guys think? Drop it in the comments. So we had this match going on. We got Grayson Waller pops in. Of course, we start doing this whole thing of you got to add some more weapons in here. But Trick Williams does that. And he shouts, "Watch out." And he chucks the chair into the ring and comes inches away from hitting Grayson Waller. Not at all how that was supposed to go. I don't know what happened with Gargano. He ended up being busted open in his nose.
I like it though, right? Like it's a cage match. You should bleed, right?
Right.
So I'm okay with that.
I like the part a lot where Gargano and Dunne had their cross faces on, and then they were kicking the opposite opponent in the face. That was cool.
We gotta talk about Waller jumping off the cage. First of all, how these cages have evolved to cater to performers. Because there is a legit dip and divot in the cage so that people can safely put their feet down and just jump off these cages to perfection. I love the evolution of that. You know? Like how now they literally put in spots in the cage for people to jump off of.
And he wasn't the only person to do that whole situation. He gets thrown through the table. Later on, he does an elbow drop through the table. Like them both.
Yeah, I like the elbow drop a lot.
I like the little bit where when Trick Williams was given a whole bunch of weapons to Tony D'Angelo, he goes under the ring and Dexter Lumis pops out. And then they share, Lumis and Gargano share a thumbs up. Thought that was neat.
Yeah, it was neat because, like, Lumis is someone who played a big role in Gargano's like final year, and I like that wedding ended the way it did.
That wasn't just a typical thing, yeah.
They're just married and like, hey, Johnny, you're cool, and Johnny's like, hey, thanks, Dexter. It's just a nice thing.
Then they padlock the door shut, or they chain it shut. I shouldn't say padlock.
Now, who did that?
Tony D'Angelo.
Why?
Because they had the advantage, and they wanted to make sure that they kept the advantage before LA Knight and Tommaso Ciampa came in.
No, fair, but you know who that ended up screwing over?
Braun Breaker. Because Braun Breaker was meant to just rip that open, and he struggled with it. Now, of course, if anybody's going to go, oh, we couldn't fucking do any better. No, I couldn't.
You're absolutely right.
So I wouldn't even fucking try. But that clearly was the plan.
Breaker to climb over the cage, though.
Yeah, LA Knight was the one who did that.
I was like, bro, you need to like climb over that cage, use your Steiner strength, do some like clotheslines from like the top rope as you get in the ring. That'd be a cool way to do it. But he eventually got in there. See,
Rex Steiner would have done that, but Braun Breaker can't.
That's true.
Because he's got to break things.
Braun Breaker. Okay.
So that goes down. I liked a little bit with Gargano using the crutch to save Ciampa, and they kind of both look at it like, "Yeah, remember that?"
Yeah, this is a DIY specialty.
Yeah, DIY is fantastic too. So anytime that they're teaming up again, I'm gonna love it. We got the air raid crash on a trash can. We got the crowbar spot with Tony D'Angelo, who he stole Pete Dunne's mouth guard for some reason. I don't know why he put that in his pants, but that happened.
Well, he put it in his pocket. He didn't just like stuff it in his pants.
I think he tried to put it in his pocket and he put it down his pants.
I thought he put it in his pocket, but maybe so. That makes sense. He should have tried to crowbar his teeth out.
I thought that's what he was going to do. I thought he was ripping the mouth guard out to be able to go like, oh, I'm going to rip one of your teeth out because that's what like Pete Dunne would do. And instead he does like a neck breaker or something.
Yeah, with the crowbar, which is fine.
Yeah, it's fine. I like the idea of Tony D'Angelo with a crowbar. I think that makes sense.
I love the meet in the middle. I thought it was really cool. And they almost got the pin on Breaker, and Carmelo Hayes stops at the last second. And he low blows Gargano, and I love this moment because Gargano's on his knees, and he sees Ciampa and holds on to Hayes long enough for Ciampa to knee him, but Hayes kind of moves, and Ciampa ends up getting close to Gargano, and I'm like, that's the perfect way for him to go. Because Ciampa, like, he tried to save Ciampa hit him. Like, that's the perfect way for Johnny to go. But eventually, he goes for the fairy tale ending, is it?
Yeah.
He goes to the angel's wings. And as he's lifting him, Breaker hits the spear through the table, hits the Steiner gorilla press into a power slam for the 1, 2, 3. Breaker pins Ciampa. It seems so obvious that like you should have seen it coming, but I was still kind of surprised that it was just like, all right, Breaker beat Ciampa. Breaker should get a title match. Black and Gold is dead.
Yeah.
In case you were missing it, that was the point here. Black and Gold is dead. 2.0 is here to stay.
So Breaker heading into this wasn't really a heel. He played heel in this match and its feud, but it kind of seems like they have more heels set up to potentially fight him if he wins the title. You thinking that they just revert right back to, and he's a babyface again, you just go with it? He was never
a heel. We told you this in the pre-show.
But he's clearly playing heel for it, you know?
He's playing a heel because the people wanted to cheer the Black and Gold because they weren't ready for everything to change. LA Knight wasn't a babyface, but you can technically say for tonight he was. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah. But we do know that Breaker, we figured this was going to happen. Breaker is going to get another shot at that title for sure. And he's probably going to win it. So I guess we're going to see soon enough. maybe at New Year's Evil. Might be when Breaker wins the belt. It's only a couple weeks away, so, you know. It seems like a logical point of doing it. And anyway, that's WarGames.
Yeah, and like I said, Gargano did address his future by saying, stay tuned. Gotcha. And I'm like, I'm kind of not here for an angle to write him out. As much as I hate when companies do the whole, hey, you're leaving us, but let's give you a teary farewell. Gargano deserves nothing but a teary farewell, so they better give him a teary farewell.
If he leaves, of course, obviously.
I think he's leaving.
I think he's leaving too. And if that's the case, I hope we see him literally the next episode of Dynamite after that.
Like literally 24 hours later. Just
right.
Like, hey, I'm here now.
And he just has, a stellar match against like Kenny Omega or, Daniel Bryan or something. Just go through the list. He's one of those top tier people where I'm like, yeah, put him against anybody. I'm going to be more interested in it. Well, not anybody. Yeah. I don't really care about some people, I'm not going to go nuts over Johnny Gargano against
Tony Nese.
Baron Black or something, like, sorry, Baron Black.
Yeah, sorry, Tony Nese. But
first names I could think of. Tony Nese, yeah, they would have a good match, but
yeah,
I'm not going to go nuts over
Johnny
it.
Gargano would also have a good match with Baron Black.
Right. So,
Johnny Gargano's good.
So, I'm not really super feeling WarGames, but it was a fun enough show.
It was a special show. It was.
If this was an episode of NXT, I would have really liked the episode. As a pay-per-view, I think it falls short.
It was the farewell of all the black and gold stuff. So I do kind of feel like it's important to note that.
I'm curious if, like, this pay-per-view or if another situation is going to be looked at as the end of that era. Is it just going to end up being like, well, when Karrion Kross lost, that was the end of it? Or, well, when Samoa Joe got injured, that was the end of it?
I think when they officially announced that, when you're in 2.0 and it's all colorful, that was the end of it. But this was like, all right, now we have given you closure.
I don't like that closure. So we'll see how 2.0 goes going forward. I'm not feeling it a whole lot, but, maybe. Who knows? But tell us what you have to say. Drop your comments below. Pro, con, like, dislike, whatever it might be. Chat it up about NXT WarGames 2021, the last pay-per-view that we're going to be covering for this year for any of the outlets, right? Yep. Yeah, because there's nothing in AEW, because AEW is just Winter is Coming. That's not a pay-per-view. So yeah, the last pay-per-view of 2021. Now we can figure out what the best and the worst pay-per-views of the year were. And WarGames was neither of them, in my mind. So
yeah, WarGames is a solid 5 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's it. Make sure you keep yourself subscribed here to the YouTube channel on Smark Out Moment. Make sure that you hit us up on the Patreon and the members only button on YouTube. Hit a little thanks, applause button if you want to help us out in that monetary way. Pick up a t-shirt or something on TeePublic and Redbubble. The hats and stuff all readily available at this point. You've got the Pick Your Poison tier on Patreon if you want to request us to do something. Like maybe if we decide that we don't want to do the Mount Rushmore of NXT and you really want us to, you can directly finance that and you can make sure that we do it. We've also got notes coming up for the end of the year awards for NXT, or not for NXT, but for WWE and AEW. So stay tuned for that coming up in the next couple of weeks. Probably Mount Rushmore for the next episode. We're not entirely positive.
Yeah, it'll be a Mount Rushmore of something. Maybe a Mount Rushmore of takeovers.
That I wouldn't be good at. I'm never good at remembering exactly which pay-per-views I loved more so than anything. But I don't know. We'll talk about it. And we'll take into account any suggestions that you guys have in the comments below. Make sure that you stay tuned to fanboysanonymous.com as well. If you want to check out the fan tracks that we did of Red Notice, go ahead and check that out. Rob and I watched that the other night. And we're going to do
fan tracks of Rumble.
Yeah, that comes out next week or is this week?
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday or this Wednesday coming up?
The 15th, I believe.
Okay, so then we'll do that when that comes out. and possibly some other projects here and there. So, Fanboys Anonymous all over the place. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., etc. I'm at Tony Mango all over the place as well. Rob is at Dude Felice, so check out what he's got going on.
I am, and you should check out Fightful.com and Fightful Select and all things Fightful, because Fightful is great. And Sean works very hard. And we will have more NXT and more WWE and more AEW and more New Japan, because we're here, folks. It's that time of the year where shit just goes crazy, because already January is looking like Day 1, Raw, New Japan Night 1, NXT New Year's Evil, New Japan Night 2, AEW, and then we go, AEW on TBS, by the way, and then we go to, what is it next? New Japan Night 3, and then I think Battle of the Belts, not to mention the Rumble and shit. So there's a lot. And it's January.
Oh, right now it's December 5th. Well, at least for 5 more minutes.
But I've already skipped over. We're in January now.
We are, yeah. So I hope you had a great Christmas.
And if you haven't yet had a great Christmas, we hope you have a great Christmas.
We hope you have a great day. We hope you have a great Monday. Must be Monday. And everything else like that. We will see you next time, though, everybody. That's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us. Adios for now. This has been another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.